Hello and happy Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining in and following along either on Facebook or YouTube. So today I have kind of a classy put together card using the beautiful Gallery Suite collection, and it's just a lovely, lovely suite. It's probably one of the initial, when the first catalog first came out, one of the initial ooh-ahs for me to see the beautiful papers and everything. Hello there, Pam. Thanks for joining in. And so I thought, oh, I just can't wait to do more and more things, especially with the pretty paper. If you know me, I'm like that pretty paper person that easily gets sucked in by all the great designs that Stampin' Up! Puts together for us. So let me get my camera turned around here. And as I do that and get focused, be sure to look at what I posted earlier today as far as news coming along about Stampin' Write markers. Starting tomorrow, they will be on our last chance list. Either as the full collection or color families and such too. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. But there's a 6 to 10 minute video from Stampin' Up! That I posted too about upcoming announcements, not only about the markers, but about packaging, red rubber versus photopolymer, and all of that. So if you have questions, please reach out to me. I won't go into detail because I think Stampin' Up! Did a great job with that, but I just wanted to draw attention to the post that I put on my page here right below this video. So, or if you're watching on YouTube, you'll have to go onto Facebook, or I'm sure you'll find the information too as it comes out. All right, hi there, Julie. So here, like I said, such a pretty card. And this is the beautiful Gallery Suite collection. And this is in the annual catalog, starts on page 52. And as you can see, they just keep giving us great ideas with all of that, all the way to page 57. So love it, love it. And you can see these fun frames here that they've used on several of their samples. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. So we have that to look forward to. I'm using both of the bundles that are in the beautiful Gallery Suite as well. So I'm using some stamps from here, like the sentiments, and then some of the floral images, and then the dies as well. So let me just kind of start making the card, I guess, because I have already went through the paper. So those of you that are like, oh, is that 12 by 12? Is that 6 by 6? So if you already have this in your stash, this is kind of that top design in your 6 by 6 paper that you can look for, or if you don't, you'll really love it. Like I said, I don't try to go through all the pieces when it's a project that I've already done something with. If it's the initial time, then I kind of go sheet by sheet to show you the designs. All right, so you'll see on here, there's this little strip, and it almost looks embossed, like an embossing folder, and you might go, where's that from? What am I missing? Here's the, hopefully the light can show on there. Here's the full strip. It's a 1 inch by 5.5 inch strip that I'm showing you here that's going to go along the edge of the card. And so what this comes from is actually, it's already like pre-embossed for us. Okay, so this is the Flower Garden Foils 12 by 12 specialty paper. I would have thought, oh, this is silver, but they call it cloud cover, which maybe that's why I like cloud cover so well. It does coordinate really nicely with silver. And then Pretty in Pink and Strawberry Slush are the other two colors. So for each color, there's one 12 by 12 sheet of kind of this floral embossed image here. I feel like this is going to give just like a big glare back for you guys, and kind of oh, I don't even know, like a diamond shaped, there's probably a name for this. I feel like we had an embossing folder that had this look to it. It can be masculine, which is nice too. And then we've got the Strawberry Slush here in those same two patterns. I'm going to show, even though these patterns repeat, hoping that because it's kind of glary, maybe I should take the light off of it. I don't know if that's going to pick up the pattern at all any better. But each one has the floral, and then each one has kind of that diamond type of look to it. Maybe if I hold it still, I don't know. Okay, and then the Pretty in Pink. So same version of that, and then just like a softer paler pink, but very metallic. It's called foil for a reason. So beautiful, beautiful. So let us look at this card here together. Yeah, this color pattern, so pretty. Secret Sea, cloud cover, basic white, and then the pretty flower garden, or excuse me, beautiful gallery 6x6 designer series paper. So let me start by using this strip. So today's card, the orientation goes this way. And like I said, I just cut off a strip that's 1 inch by 5.5, and I'm just going to run that down the edge of my card here. And I can kind of monkey around with it a little bit. Sometimes with our adhesive, it's nice if you can kind of shimmy and shift as it goes, because I feel like there's just a little bit sticking out over the edge. And I don't know about you, but that sometimes gets to me. So I love that our cardstock is nice and thick, where it provides a nice little edge to just cut off extra things like that. And it's easier to cut off that little extra edge than it is to try and shimmy and make it work. So it looks like it made it to the edge when it doesn't quite do that. Hello there, Sherry. Nice to have you on here. All right, so when it comes to these frames here, like I said, I used out of the bundles both die sets and stamp sets. So this is one of the big dies, and they'll give you 2 frames. So even though it kind of looks like maybe a little awkward, like, is this one big frame and is it embossed in like a big thick way? So this is one of the frames. And then there's, let me just reach off to the side here where I have my stack of the next project just waiting to happen. All right, so then I've got a little bit smaller frame in there. And then it does a nice job of just cutting out that little centerpiece too. So I'm already thinking of, in mind of a fun fold that's going to use some pretty paper. And then the fun fold's going to incorporate that inside there for like the sentiment, or maybe even just left open for a little bit of writing. And some of you breathe a sigh of relief, like a little bit of writing. Some people just don't like to cut, or excuse me, I'm thinking cutting through my embossing folder, or embossing and cutting thing as I put it aside. A lot of you don't like to write inside of your cards, or don't feel like you have a lot to say. So sometimes those little tiny inserts can be your friend that way too. Hello there, Margaret. Nice to see you on here. Now to fill up this frame here, this is pretty large, so you can see it's going to cover quite an area on this card front. And so what I did is I took one of the 6x6 pieces here, and this is gorgeous. Love it. The back side's just kind of like a light kind of cloud, excuse me, cloud cover pattern. And so what I did is just cut a 1-inch strip off of this and then cut it in half so that we've got a 5 by 3 inch piece here. So each of these you can make 2 cards from if you're using this one. And then what I did is just took some adhesive here and ran that along the edges of my frame. And this allows plenty of space to frame that, and yet not too much where you have to worry about this pretty paper going over the edges. So it's getting close there. In fact, I might just see if I can peel that off, and probably what I should have done is put this down. I think that's how I made my original card. Yeah, put it down, and then look, there we go. Do as I say, not as I do type thing. There we go. Now it's stuck on there really well. And then this I wanted to give a little bit of a boost and lift from my card base. So I'm going to just flip that over, and I'm going to put dimensionals in each of the corners here. And then I'm going to put a couple dimensionals in the center. I don't want to get too heavy with the dimensionals because we don't want to add too much bulk, so that our projects easily can go through the postal system. And then I'm going to be adding some other embellishments too, so I don't want to have that be like a double bump up as far as getting too bulky that way too. All right, so now this, I want this to be showing, and I want the blue edge on the other side to be showing. So I'm just going to kind of center that in a way that shows that off. All right, so we have that, and just adding that with the pretty paper just kind of steps it up a notch for elegance, and I love that. And now for the stamping part, I'm going to open up my Secret C embossing folder. I must be tired today. I've been cleaning up a storm, and so I feel like my videos struggle if I've had like a big day of physical something before I come on live. I probably should have done this in the morning. All right, so I'm opening up my ink pad, not my embossing folder of Secret C. Thanks for like just sticking with me through all my craziness. All right, and like I said, from Beautiful Motifs, I love the Celebrate, and then I'll also be using the Wishing You Love and Happiness That Lasts a Lifetime. I thought this is going to make a beautiful like wedding, anniversary card, something like that for a special occasion. It would actually make a gorgeous sympathy card. Obviously, you would want to sub out that inside sentiment, but we're going to start with the special occasion card for today, and I'm just going to stamp out that Celebrate here. And then as I let that dry, before I cut it down, I'm going to do a little bit of building up on my images here. So from the other set of dies opposite of the frames, now I've got this fun flower. It's just gorgeous. It's so fun to work with because it's easy to die cut. It just pops out and just gives you a really detailed, beautiful look here. So I'm just going to put a couple mini glue dots on here where there's like little intersections that make it a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to do a couple because as it comes down to the bottom, then we're going to put the sentiment on there too. So I'm just going to kind of go along the frame here because I want to add to it, but I don't want to take away the beautiful paper either. So I have that like so. And then next what I'm going to do is take some ribbon. Here it is. Cloud cover. Here we go. Faux linen ribbon. And this is just so pretty too. Can you tell I love these colors? I think it's just pretty because the color is so pretty. All right. So I'm just going to do kind of a little, I call it that loose ribbon loop there. And let me grab my ribbon cutting scissors here. I'm just going to cut that at an angle. So then we've got that. And to kind of keep that loop, what I like to do is take a mini glue dot and just press my ribbon into that and then find where I want it to connect in that loop like so. And then I'm going to put another one on the back side, and then it's just ready to go on my card. And so that I'm just going to tuck there. And then I don't want it hanging below the card edge, obviously, so it fits in the envelope. And then it's just going to go right on top of those flowers. Now I'm going to go back to my Celebrate here. Not that it was super juicy, but I always feel like less chance of having that smear. And don't we all love that? And I'm just going to take 2 dimensionals and put it on each end. So that way we have kind of this hollow spot for that ribbon to just set right there so that it doesn't have a lumpy, clumpy look. And so you can see now this is just going to kind of straddle that ribbon there, like so. And if it sticks up too much, you can always just put another like glue dot if you want to there. But I kind of like how it puffs out a little bit like that. It just kind of adds a little bit to the card. And then for embellishments, I went away from I always call them suggested elements. It's the ones that are part of the suite. And I love these basic gray and smoky slate pearls. And so these have a large, both colors are in large and in small. And I wanted to include both colors on this. So I'm taking the small, and I'm going to go with the darker one. I'm just going to pop that on the white frame there. And I'm going to go with the lighter, same thing, the smaller version here. I'm going to do two lights and then the darker there, just to kind of go and frame the base of those flowers going up. So now the front of the card is complete, and to finish the inside, what I like to do, especially for classes, I don't know if you struggle with sometimes if you want to add like a floral image or some kind of extra, like sometimes even those like little starbursts or kind of graffiti looking things with your sentiment, and you're nervous about, okay, what if I stamp the flowers and then my words are crooked or vice versa. So I like to just lay them out on my glass mat, the actual photopolymer stamps, and then I can see with my acrylic block exactly how to place that down, and I'll still stamp it out on a piece of scratch paper so that I know that it is lined up. And then I like having that not only for me, but for my people that come to classes, just to kind of give them that boost of confidence that it's going to turn out lined up. So we have that. And I love not only the sentiment, but these flowers. Like, it'd be so fun to just take, and if you wanted to add like a little watercolor and spread that color around a little bit. But for the inside, I thought there's kind of a lot of beauty going on here, and so I wanted to have this be a little bit more simple. But these flowers are just so pretty, just stamped out in a single ink pad color. So I like to point that out because it is a great bundle. So that, oops, I picked up my sample instead of the card that I'm making for you. There we go. All right, so here we have Celebrate and wishing you love and happiness that lasts a lifetime. Hello there, Marie. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Like I said, it's always fun to just pull out projects from the annual catalog, because it seems like we've had that for a while in comparison to some of the online exclusives and some of the upcoming things that are going to be in the fall catalog. So I love showing you guys just some of those things that are going to be around a while, because sometimes those are the things that are easy to purchase because of the longevity that Stampin' Up! is like forecasting into like early next year. They'll be around a lot longer, so they tend to stay on the shelf and stocked up a lot better too, because there's nothing more frustrating than me doing a video and worrying about something that's maybe sold out that I'm working with or something. So I try and stay on tasks with that to help you as well. So thanks Pam, thanks Julie. So my goal is to come to you tomorrow again with some more inspiration for cards, and maybe even more than one video. It depends on how much more I get packed for that retreat at the end of the week in Wyndham. So we'll see how that goes. Take care. Have a good rest of your evening. Bye-bye.